Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Texas Hockey Podcast. We are back after a little bit. I am here with my co-host, Travis Tyler. How are you doing this evening, Travis?
I'm happy we get a little bit of a chance to breathe for a second. Hopefully Neal doesn't pull something on us right now. I mean, busy couple days.
So, as the Stanley Cup Final ended on Tuesday, congratulations. We should start with that. Yes, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions back-to-back. They defeated the Edmonton Oilers again. Florida looked like the better team all series. I think Edmonton had flashes where they showed they could compete, but Florida showed that they're a different class than anybody else in the NHL. Absolutely fantastic series to watch. I don't really want to spend too much time on it. It's a little bit of old news by now. The Panthers are having the most fun I think I've seen any team have after the Cup.
Brad Marchment is having the most fun I've seen anybody have after winning.
The one thing that I do want to bring up on the show is the one night that he took pictures of all of his teammates and tagged their former teams thanking them. He was getting like ECHL teams. Like, thank you, Kansas City Mavericks. Like, Brad's had a fun week. So have the Florida Panthers. A huge congratulations to that squad. Well-deserved Cup win. Hopefully the Stanley Cup leaves the state of Florida next year. I think everyone's kind of done with the Panthers. Neither here nor there. Surprisingly, a team that has not been silent during the Cup final in the days following has been the Dallas Stars, who seem to be the busy bees right now. Even a little bit busier than the teams that were playing. The dam kind of broke on the Stars offseason over the last few days. We've got a few signings to talk about, as well as a pretty big trade that I think both of us saw coming. I think I could safely say before we get into it, as we both went, yep, good, we got assets for that.
Yeah.
But what really kicked off the offseason for the Stars was Matt Duchene getting his extension. Dutchie is staying in Dallas for another 4 years at $4.5 million. What are your initial thoughts? I want to gauge where you're at. What are you feeling the number, the term, just him coming back in general?
I was surprised they got it done, honestly, because the way he was talking to us in that exit interview, press conference, whatever you want to call it, it sounded like, yes, he wants to be here, but he didn't sound too optimistic that it was going to be able to get done.
No.
So what they were able to do kind of at the time screwed them cap-wise and gave them a little more work to do, but it was a deal that probably needed to get done and both sides wanted to get done. So I'm surprised financially that they were able to get it done. I'm not surprised that, people-wise, personally, they were able to get it done.
Yeah. He's been such a good fit here. He feels like a Dallas star.
He's a great locker room guy. He's
really
made it known that he likes it here.
He's a country guy. He had a very disappointing playoff. It's hard to ignore that. So that number probably did drop a little bit this spring of that final 4.5. I honestly thought Duchene was going to come in higher than 4.5, even after that playoff. It's obvious he wanted to stay at that number. And I think I think these two moves go hand in hand because they really were back to back. So just following the Matt Duchene signing is Mason Marchment, and we can kind of talk about them collectively, but Mason Marchment has been shipped off to the Seattle Kraken in exchange for a 2026 third-round pick and a 2025 fourth-round pick. So this is where the Duchene money came from, was this Mason Marchment deal. This was a great move. And I want to look at these collectively. Being able to move on from Marchment with no cap retention, freeing up the money to keep Matt Duchene, who I think every person in the Stars organization probably likes a little bit more than Marchment. It's just a happy little week Jim Neal's having. I forget which reporter said it, but he's starting his bid to win GM of the year again, because it seems like that's the Jim Neal award at this point. But did
at least
you
be nominated, I believe was what it said. Yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy to me about the Marchment trade and kind of what went down there is in the past few years we talked about how good of a player Mason Marchment was and how much potential he had, and he really was a good fit here at times. The third and fourth, if you would have said that to you maybe 3 years ago and said this is all you're getting for Mason Marchment, you'd feel a little down about the whole situation. But I think the way I gauge that, that's a pretty good return for where he's at in his career. Is that kind of how you read the trade, or are you feeling a little bit differently?
I think it's a pretty good return for what you were trying to do, what he was and how he was playing down this stretch. I'll put it that way. Did not have a very good playoff at all. I think he had 1 goal and 4 assists, so 5 points throughout the entire playoffs. Playing on that second line is not good enough to get it done. I think he was taking a lot of bad penalties, and people were kind of getting, fans were getting tired of the way he was playing and some of the stuff he was doing, even though the past 2 years have been the best production-wise, the best 2 years of his career. And that second line of him, Duchene, and Sagan has been one of the best lines in the league. It's just that it was time. Like they didn't have the cap. He's getting up there. He's not old, but he's getting kind of up there in age. And they just had to they had to make a move to free up some space, and it probably was a good time for a change of scenery for him too.
Yeah, it seems like a really good trade for both sides, because you get the Stars, who it very much felt like the Marchment thing in Dallas had come to an end by the time we got to the end of the Edmonton series. So to be able to get these 2 draft picks you don't retain, it's a really big get for the Stars. And from the Kraken's point of view, they desperately just need a forward. They just need somebody who could put a puck in the net even sometimes. So just any type of offense really helps the Kraken. There are definitely many steps away from even being a playoff team at the moment. To me, they're extremely uninspired lineup. So getting Mason Marchment could really rejuvenate, because he plays with a high level of energy, would be a way to put it. Whether that energy is being funneled in the correct ways is slightly... Yes, exactly. He might. I could see him doing well in a bit of a lower pressure system in Seattle, or I won't say lower pressure. I'll say lower stakes is the hockey that he's going to be playing out there, and he might have an opportunity to really turn to a different page in his career. But just fantastic work to start the offseason by Jim Neal. You get the Mason Marchment deal, who I was talking at points during the playoffs, that contract felt like a boat anchor. And I said, how many times Mason's only in the lineup because of how much money he's making? That's gone. Matt Duchene's back. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy to start the season, which I think we needed after a very bummer end to the playoffs again. I want to do shout out while we're kind of here. I don't know if we talked about it in our coaching episode. The Texas Stars also had a pretty good playoff run. They also lost in the Western Conference Final, which not many times you'll see that amongst the whole franchise. But there's obviously a good farm team here, even though we did talk, there's not as many prospects, but there's some options coming from that farm team. But, talking about that, I did kind of want to bring up the Stars' whole situation, because even after these moves, the money's changed a bit. The Stars don't have money. The Stars are broke. And there's some gaps to fill. So what I wanted to do, I brought up their Puckpedia, which I'm going to share to the screen now. And so we can see the Stars only have about $2.75 million of cap space, which is not enough considering you have all of these UFAs that we're looking at right now. And I kind of wanted to gauge, are we thinking they're coming back? We'll make this a little game, Travis. Are they coming back, or should we expect to see them leave? The big one, just get it out of the way first, Jamie Benn. What's his future looking like in Dallas?
I
What have you
still think
heard?
he
What
could.
are you thinking?
I haven't heard anything, but
Mhm.
gut feeling the entire time has been that he's coming back. I I
Yeah,
I take that back. I haven't heard anything official. I have seen an occasional tweet here or there from certain sources that I don't know how what their exact reputation is saying that he's coming back.
yeah,
But
not reliable.
yeah,
Um,
no total reliable information, just pretty much a gut feeling on the whole thing.
yeah,
It seems like
and
I mean he doesn't want to go anywhere else. They want to keep him
no,
around. I'm sure he would take a discounted deal, honestly.
yeah,
So
he's gonna need to come in cheap no matter
yeah,
what. But I think Jamie is very much done a good job, especially recently, learning where he is in his kind of career. Of hey, I'm not the $9.5 million player anymore. He's very much had to adjust his game to
yeah,
compensate for how he's aged. And I think he's smart enough to know that that's also going to affect his number here in renegotiations. I also agree that he's coming back. Jamie said he wants to be back. Jim Neal said he wants him back. It's just finding the number that keeps everybody happy. It's important to remember that there are only $2.7 million of cap space at the moment. That number is take it with a grain of salt because we're on the off season. Things will be constantly changing, but that's the number we
they
kind of think
could
of
have another
now.
move coming.
Yes, we'll talk about that because there's a lot of boat anchor deal. I'm not going to call them boat anchors; they're not terrible deals, but there's a good chunk of guys that are making a good amount of money on the Stars team right now, and there's some people that I think the Stars could use to free up a little bit of space. Um, the next guy, I think he's gone. Evgeny Dodonov. Do you see him in a Stars uniform next year?
No, he's gone. He's gone.
He's so gone.
I'm,
He's
I'm
36.
trying to.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. This
and
this
I love
projection sheet that
Dodonov.
I'm looking at has him signing for a little over $3 million a year. So that's more space than they
It's not
have.
there.
It's yeah.
This is
No.
this is how we should be viewing a player like Dodonov. We both loved Dodonov throughout the playoffs, correct? You're a big
Yes.
fan of how he played, except when he pulled them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
It's
just,
not
I'm
worth using
not.
all your cap space on him.
No, I feel like there's a much better use of that cap space. I feel like you could go get a player to do an Evgeny Dodonov like job for significantly less than that. Let's just round it to 3 million that he's projected to get. I feel like you could go get that for $1 million, especially another year of age, too short off season. That's going to build up on a 36-year-old. You can go get that. I think you can really branch Mikhail Granlund into the same Evgeny Dodonov conversation. I think they're both. There's no way they're coming back. It just doesn't
Yeah,
make sense right now.
I mean, to me, Granlund's the one that's going to get the most money out of all those guys, those four forwards. And
Yes,
there's just
because
there's no shy going
Granlund's
Yeah,
33.
he was playing first
Jamie's
line in the playoffs, playing on the first line in
and
the
was
playoffs.
he had a
Was good
playoff
at
hat
it.
trick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
and
mean,
that'll make you
it's
money.
funny because I was talking to a friend who's a big Dallas Stars fan last night, and he was saying that he thinks Granlund's going to come back, and I'm just like, with what money? You can't
There's
afford him.
not.
Even if you make another move, you have other things you need to address that's not going to bring you back.
Yeah. And a pretty minor one to finish off the forward list, another UFA, Colin Blackwell. He is flip a coin if Colin's coming back or not at this point. I'd like to see him back just because I'm a Colin Blackwell fan. I love the way he plays. I love what he brought to the lineup when he was allowed to play. And I think he's the type of guy, he's projected to make about $1 million in this offseason. If it doesn't work and you want to go with something else, just move on from him. Send him down to Austin and move on. Or trade him. Someone will be willing to give you like a seventh for Colin Blackwell if need be, if you want to change it up. But I think he's worth having in your bag of tricks going into next year.
Yeah, I mean, I like Blackwell. I just think somebody's going to offer him more money than Dallas can.
Yeah, that would be the thing. Like, did Colin do enough in the playoffs that someone's willing to give Colin Blackwell too much money? Because, like, me wanting Blackwell back is based off of Blackwell making the amount of money that Blackwell should make. But GMs are stupid sometimes. Like,
I feel like somebody's going to pay him a premium in terms of what fourth liners are worth.
Yeah.
Based on what he was able to do late in the season and in the playoffs with Dallas.
Yeah.
Not
his numbers 1.5
wise, but with the energy and the contributions and the little plays and everything.
If his number's 1.5, I don't know if I'd take him. I'd want him lower. I'd want him a lot closer to that million mark. Forwards, I expect. Look, I think a forward's going to have to move out. I do. And you know who I think it is. And it's going to make some Stars people angry, but I'm okay having the conversation. I think this is the time that the conversation has to be, Jason Robertson, are you staying long term?
I mean, that's the next expiring contract with a big number.
Right?
I mean, it's just a natural conversation.
He's going into his last season on his deal at 7.75. He's an RFA the next year, which
9.3 in total too. The cap hit 7.7, but 9.3 in total.
He's owed. Yeah. He has increased value because there's a year of RFA after. So whatever team is going out and acquiring Robertson has a little bit more security than if this deal was expiring a year later. So he's right on that precipice of when he gets to use real free agency. I think if you're going to do this and you're going to have this honest conversation, the time is right now. Because I don't think Jason Robertson's going to get easier to move, or you're not going to get more value for Robertson than what you're going to get right now. Now, I don't know what that Robertson deal
going back.
Right, it needs to be a lot, but I think a team is going to be willing to pay that. I don't know who it is. But I mean, this dude, he scored 50 or got close to 50 1 year. Like, he's an electric player.
Yeah. When he's healthy. Yeah.
A bit of a down year, had some injuries this year. Obviously was not himself, had an injury in the playoffs, but looked good once he got back into his rhythm come playoff time. But
and
you look at Look, I mean, we've brought in Mikko Rantanen making 12. We have the one deal realistically they should look at making is Tyler Seguin's, but I don't think that deal is movable.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's 9.8 with a full no move clause. You're not moving that.
That's the other contract you would be looking at to move a chunk of salary cap, but yeah,
because look at everybody else. Okay, go down the lineup. You're not moving Rantanen ever. He's staying here for at least 5 years minimum. Tyler, we're talking about Rupe, great value contract. I don't think you move on from Rupe anytime soon. Wyatt Johnston, that deal is going to be a steal if he just projects the way that he has been and just keeps on the same path that he is. He's a career star. Jason Robertson, who the conversation is based around, Matt Duchene just signed. Sam Steele, the moving the two doesn't do you enough to warrant.
And he just signed that in March, February?
Yeah. He's just in he signed a 3-year and he finished 1 year. He's staying. Unless the team goes really far downhill, he might be a good trade chip. But they won't go downhill enough to warrant a Sam Steele move. Yeah. You got Maverick Bork, who just extended.
Yeah, Bork and Beck, not enough money in those deals anyway. Not enough money coming off the books.
No, it doesn't mean anything. So you really have these two deals that I would consider advantageous to trade. And it's either Seguin or Robertson. And I look at the Seguin deal, and I don't know if there's another GM willing to take that on. I mean, it could be great. I think at times it's just Travis, if Tyler Seguin is playing at 100% of Tyler Seguin right now, like his very best that he's capable of at his age, is he worth close to 9.9?
Probably
Like
not. I mean, he's
no,
still a really good player. He's still a really good player. It's just
it's a
that is
$7 million player maybe when he's at his best.
yeah, 7 or 8, I'd say probably.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
33, which is
he's
not.
still a well above average player. Well above average.
Yes, he's only 33, which is for a
Gets
free
hurt a
agent
lot.
is.
Gets hurt a lot playing through a lot of injuries.
It's been a rough 33, Tyler. Tyler Seguin is not the dude who's going to be playing into his 40s. It's not possible with what his legs and every tendon in his body's gone through. That he's going to hit a
When he's
cliff.
43 and still playing, you might regret that.
If he's 43 and still playing, I'll eat my Tyler Seguin jersey.
100%.
Like
yeah.
I'd love to see it. He just stands there on the power play. He doesn't skate. That's what he's able to do. We're not
against it. It's just unreal. It just seems unrealistic.
It is very unrealistic, yes. So I would like for them to visit that Robertson trade. I feel like you could really get some value back. I think you'd have to replace him by committee. I don't think there's one guy you bring in to go, this is the new Robertson.
Your top 6 is going to take a hit with the deal.
Yeah, unfortunately. But are you that surprised if a guy like Maverick Bork kind of slots up a little bit and takes a little bit of the brunt? And
well, like this cap situation is starting to demonstrate, they're going to have some tough decisions, and they're eventually going to have to walk away from one of these deals with one of these players, with one of these high-profile players.
Thank you. You said what I've been dancing around. At some point, you have to. This group as perfect. No, I'm not going to say perfect. If perfect is winning the cup, as good as this group looks, it is great, and I don't think they've really made that many mistakes in building it. But you can't keep that for very long. And I'd rather lose Robertson. No. And it just sucks because Robertson is still not that old. He's still a young player.
He's 25.
Yeah. But he's going to get so much money. He's going to get paid.
Yeah.
And his contract is lining up with when the cap is skyrocketing. He's a $10 million player. Like, he could reasonably go ask that. Plus. And the Stars they don't have it. And I think that money can be better allocated elsewhere to maybe bolstering the bottom 6, maybe bringing in somebody. I don't know who that guy is. It's kind of hard to predict who that guy is, but someone who's going to bang in a few goals come May to go in your bottom 6. Maybe you can get a guy like that on board that we didn't have last year, or just something along those lines. And keep everybody else together. Someone has to be a sacrificial lamb. And it's a way to put it, because no one wants to move on from Robertson, right? No. Like, no one's gone, man, he's bad, we need to trade him. But it's a business, and sometimes you need to move on from players you don't want to. Defensively, it's a little bit different. A lot more people are locked up. I didn't realize this until I scrolled down, but my day was just made in seeing that Cody's CC is a UFA. So we won't have to talk about that.
Yeah,
I forgot. I honestly thought he had another year. That's my bad.
I don't think they're bringing back any of those other UFA defensemen.
No, Brendan Smith is not coming back. Brendan Smith is 36. Yes.
Yeah, Brendan Smith is not coming back. Cody CC not coming back. They've been talking. Everybody wants them to buy out Dumba or Lyubushkin. I saw something this morning, I think, that was like a quoted Elliot Friedman thing that said that the Stars, that somebody told him to take Dumba off their buyout list because they think that somebody would trade for Dumba.
I think someone would. This is if you're gonna fault Jim Neal for anything,
You get
is
3.7.
that
I mean,
this
that takes
defense,
3.7 million off the books. That's not a bad deal.
Travis, I don't think this defense is good.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's not.
If you can
It's
get
not.
somebody to take him and take that contract, then that's a move you got to make. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. The problem is it's just the Stars defense is really odd in that the left defenseman is just the greatest group of skaters ever assembled. Like they are the Power Rangers on the left side, and the right side is some formulation of Dumbo, Labushkin, Cece, and they're just trying their best. I give them credit for effort, not much else. They weren't as bad as they've been in their careers, but this is a team that it is considered a failure if they don't win a Stanley Cup. And that is just not going to cut it. And the one thing that I am comfortable faulting Jim Neal with is Matt Dumba making 3.7, Ilya Labushkin making 3.2 next year.
And the year after.
That is too much money for defensemen who aren't that good. That is $6 million. And the thing is, Dumba did not play in the playoffs. I think he may have got one game, if that. But he did not play. He was in the press box. And we're giving him 3.7.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I'm saying. Like if you can find somebody to take a defenseman who's making 3.7 million a year not to play, you do it. It's that simple.
What? Okay. Matt Dumba just needs to go to a team that we just need a body. Man, we don't care that you can't play defense. It's just, can you move the puck? Matt Dumba can still move the puck. He can't. That's been his thing. I could see a team willing to trade for that, and I think the Stars could probably get out of that without having to retain. The Labushkin one's a little bit different. It's $500,000 less, but you have that extra year on the back of it, which makes it a little harder to move. Ilya Labushkin is 31 years old, so that is the style of his.
Dumbo's much more skilled still too, even though he's not good anymore.
Yes,
he brings more to the table.
It's interesting that we're kind of grouping these two together because of how polar opposite style of hockey they play. These two defensemen have nothing to do with each other.
Yes.
Two vastly different careers that have somehow collided at the same point. They play two polar opposite ends of the spectrum of how you can interpret the position of defenseman. They went the opposite ways of each other. Yep. So it's interesting that we're roping them together here, but I think you're right. Dumba's a trade target. I could see him getting moved, and that does 3.7 is not a minuscule amount of money either. You could go get
a couple guys for that.
Yeah, go get guys to round out the bottom of the line. You could probably go get a bottom pairing defenseman in that thing. Right-handed does drive up the value a little bit. So it might be hard to get like a second pairing right-handed defenseman for that type of money. I doubt you can. Yeah. But you could, let's say you move on from Dumba, you make another trade, whether that's Robertson or you get creative. Yeah. Go ahead.
You're moving on from inactive or third pairing defenseman. It's not like you're moving on from superstar defenseman.
Yeah. But the Stars really do need an upgrade on that right side. They need a good second pairing guy. I don't know where or what type of guy it is. Probably someone who can move the puck a little bit better than Labushkin did.
I feel like,
but then again, you
have
Harley.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Nils Lundqvist did just also got a contract extension at that 1.25 number. Another year. I'm a big Nils Lundqvist fan. I just really like the kid.
Yeah, and you were talking about moving the puck, and that's exactly what Jim Neal said in the press release. And the announcement was he likes the balance in his game. He likes the way he moves the puck, and he likes the way he brings to the ice.
Yeah, Labushkin is or not Labushkin. Nils Lundqvist is definitely a little bit closer in style to what Nils Lundqvist could be what they wanted Matt Dumba to be, or what the max potential of what Matt Dumba could have been for Dallas this year is what Nils Lundqvist is more than capable of being. I've really wanted to talk about this on the podcast, so this is my only excuse to talk about it. I wrote an in-depth piece at one point, and like Stars fans who followed them for a handful of years would love this. But the amount of comparisons between Nils Lundqvist and Julius Honka. I'm just going to be the second you hear it, you look at the two and go, oh no. But Julius Honka was this first-round draft bust from the Stars a few years ago who played an almost identical style of game to Nils Lundqvist, and it just never clicked. I really don't want to see it happen again because Nils Lundqvist can bring so much value to this team.
I thought he played really well before he got hurt last year. I did.
Yes. It's just that injury sucks.
Yeah.
Because, man, he's not – don't expect Thomas Hartley out of Nils Lundqvist.
No.
But
you can't
Nils
expect
Lundqvist
that out of most defensemen that you're going to draft.
No, we're not talking about him like this. I forget where he was probably drafted in the 20s, but he's a former first-round pick.
Yeah, from the Rangers.
Already 24. So, I mean, he's not going to be a first-round guy.
Old, man. It's not.
Yeah, but like he's not going to turn into a first pairing defenseman. I don't think.
No, well, you're not asking.
Very much is going to be. He's a great second pairing guy. I love Nils Lundqvist. The only bad thing about Nils Lundqvist is you never get to see him play. I swear he's been like, even when he's healthy, he's like the seventh guy.
Yeah, well, I mean,
a new coach might help him.
New coach and then these contracts and how you got to navigate the offseason. It's going to give him a shot.
Yeah,
he will be in the lineup next year.
Yes, and speaking of little coaching changes, that kind of brings us up to our next topic. Unless, did you have more on the contracts or signings or anything before we move off of that?
I mean, the only other thing I was going to mention was with the Duchene deal. Don't expect him to be like, you can expect him to play like he did for like the next couple of years. Don't expect him to be the player that he is now the entire contract. You see that with every player. I mean, you're seeing it with Jamie Benn now. Eventually, time catches up and they turn into a different player and they can't play as well anymore. So, but it also tells you that he thinks that this is the team that can get him a cup. The fact that he came back.
I love deals like this because this is Jim Neal saying, okay, if the next 2 to 3 years work out the way that I anticipate it going and the way that we are building for and the way that we're hoping, means that the fourth year of this deal, in which Matt Duchene is probably bad and not worth nearly $4.5 billion, you go, we could go, we won. It's fine. We're fine with this deal if we see success going into it. And you're fine signing those deals when you're right on the cusp. Jim Neal's not worried about 4 years from now. So,
no.
And Stars fans know that going into July 1st. Is that usually when a team spends this long going for it at the top, the Stars are not going to be good in 6 years. Don't expect them to be. And Jim Neal is not building for 6 years from now. We're building for right now. That building process, go ahead.
At this rate, Jim Neal is going to be done with everything before July 1st comes.
Bro, like, honestly, what are we going to talk about July 1st when he's done everything? He is speed running the NHL offseason. He's like,
legally, he can't be done before July 1st, but he's going at it. The way somebody put it was like Jim Neal wants to sleep in on July 1st. And if Jim Neal gets to sleep in on July 1st, that means I get to sleep in on July 1st.
Yes.
And I'll be happy about that.
Jim Neal accidentally booked his trip to Cabo in July instead of August. So he's just trying to wrap things up before then so he can not have to worry about it on the beach. Yeah, he already booked it. He's just speed running. And a decision was made for. That's a weird way to transition that, but a decision was made for Jim. Steve Spott has abandoned us in Dallas. I'm not. That's just a mean way to put it. But Steve Spott has moved on to the Boston Bruins to be an assistant, leaving his role with Dallas. It's a lateral move. It's a little bit of news to be expected, though. He was Pete DeBoer's kind of right-hand man the last few years. To see him move isn't unexpected at all. Kind of saw this coming. But to make people feel a little bit more calm about saying, oh, we got someone else leaving, Steve Spott was the guy in charge of the power play for the Stars, in which a lot of people complained about because at times they looked like fish out of water on the power play. Just an important thing for people maybe a little bit newer to the sport. The thing that is dictated most by coaching on the ice is special teams. So expect to see that look pretty differently next year. I think not with everything, but I think coaching is the thing that, or special teams is the thing that is directly influenced by who's coaching the most, because it is mostly built around plays instead of free flowing. But Steve Spott moves on to Boston, so it is now a complete free-for-all for what the Stars coaching looks like going forward. Some guys did get interviewed, it sounds like. I think they said Nazardine got interviewed and another assistant got interviewed.
I haven't seen anything.
Not 100%.
I haven't seen anything but
so erase that. Sure. No one interviewed that we know of. It's all secret, and I know nothing. It's still completely up in the air. We've done our digging. There's probably people out there that have
constantly looking for stuff and finding nothing. So
there's nothing there. Jim Neal has been really tight-lipped with this.
Tight-lipped.
Look, the Duchene signing caught us off guard.
Yeah, I do think the Spot thing. I mean, obviously, you said he was expected to go because DeBoer is gone, but at the same time, I think that tells you it's probably not going to be somebody that's already on the staff.
Yeah, that's how I read that too. And you know me, I laid Nazardine train forever, but I saw that he's leaving, and it's like, just with the way that this is shaping up, I don't think it's coming from within. I still think there's a chance they bring in the dude from Texas to come up and coach, the AHL head coach, Neal Graham.
Yep.
So I could see that happening still because it's a very different look. But I think external makes the most sense right now.
I mean, if it was going to be Graham, I don't know why they wouldn't have hired him by now. That's the only thing.
That's a really good point. Yes. Unless they're just... No, but like coach, I feel like is a thing you want to start with, right? Like you want your guy in now to be part of these decisions. You want him to be a part of the Marchment decision. You want your coach.
The draft's in less than a week, too.
Yeah, it's next
Thursday,
Friday, Saturday. Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the NBA draft's Thursday. That's what it is. It's.
Oh, that's crazy.
They're all right next. Yeah, they're right next to each other. So yeah. That's a, so you want. My point is, you want a coach in there by then, because ideally he's still there when whoever you're drafting is coming up into the league.
Yes,
ideally.
And you just like
doesn't mean he's
you
going
need to know what you're doing, because like I see the Stars as a candidate to make moves on the draft floor. Again, you kind of want to know what your team is going to play like and have coaches be a part of these decisions. So I could see that the announcement for a coach coming quite quickly.
Yeah, unless Jim Neal's thinking, hey, I'm going to tell the coach how they're going to play, and our organization's going to play style. That's not a successful formula as a GM, probably, but that's the only that's really the only explanation for.
Yeah, if anyone could do it, it might be Jim Neal. Like, could you imagine him just going, "I'm hiring a coach, but they're gonna listen to me," which usually doesn't work that well. You're very much right in that. Anyone
You've watched
the
Raiders with Al Davis, right? You've watched Al Davis. You've watched Jerry Jones. They're not GMs technically, but I mean,
it might as well.
It's the same principle.
Look at Brendan Shanahan in Toronto. Like it's
Well,
people
not
don't
anymore.
overstep your job description. Yeah, not anymore. Thank God. But don't overstep your job description. Look at Buffalo and look at Calgary had that problem for a while. People just overstepping. It's mostly owners coming down onto
Yeah,
GMs, but
yeah.
GMs down into coaching might be just as
Some of
bad.
those owners like to
I can see
double
that.
as GM sometimes too, though.
Jerry Jones.
Not so much in hockey, but those football examples I
Jer-
gave,
you're you're
those
just
were
talking about Jerry Jones. We're just talking
no,
good
no.
old
I
Jerry.
mentioned Al Davis too, Mark Davis
Yeah,
afterwards. Yeah, they're the
but it's the Jerry special. It's the Jerry special.
he is the prime example. You can't. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't talk about it without bringing him up.
No. But do you have anything more before we kind of get wrapped up today, or is that kind of it
Kind
until
of
we get
lost
more
track
news?
of where this is going. So
Yeah, that's kind of usually my cue, where it's like, okay, everything on my list is good. We're just talking about Jerry Jones, so let's wrap us up.
my
Thank
bad.
you all for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow, leave a rating, whatever you do on whatever platform you listen really helps us out. Please share with everybody you know. We really appreciate you listening, and we will see you next time. Hopefully, we will have a head coach to talk about.